What's up, guys? Chris with CNC for Newbies here, coming at you. We've got an Easter Sunday live. A lot of people have been messaging, asking me what's going on. Had to take a little bit of a sabbatical for a couple things. Little work related, little medical related. So trying to get some stuff squared away. But all in all, we're rocking and rolling. Little update on the medical issue. A couple of you guys, not a couple, a lot of you guys have been messaging me talking about you missed the lives and stuff like that. Life has been interesting the past little bit because I've been having some really bad imbalance issues and some temporary blindness and stuff of that nature. Doctors ran some tests and I got some answers while I was out of town. And it turns out that my brain is passing a bunch of blood clots. So every time it passes, it gives me more of a risk of blockage and stroke. As you guys know, I already had one stroke. Frank, it's good to be back, my man. So that's the temporary blindness issue is because of blood clots and possibly the stroke too. And the last stroke I had did take away some of my memory. I was trying to help one individual in the middle of trying to talk about a continuity test. I realized that I can't remember what a continuity test is. Another one, I like took a couple minutes to walk a guy through how to hook up his laser converter, and he worked it. We got it all working and everything. Same question popped up after the stroke, and I couldn't remember how I did it. So there are some holes in there in the memory, and some things are happening. But all in all, I woke up breathing this morning, and I'm super excited about everything with it. Hopefully I can talk to the people that I helped before, figure out how I helped them, and get back the information for the group of how I did it. So that's a plus side to helping people. Now they get to help me. I taught them how to do it. Now they can teach me how to do it. But I wanted to tell everybody thank you. I had such an outpouring of people asking where are the lives at, what's going on, how are you doing? That stuff really made me feel good, and I appreciate that, guys. You have no idea how much that keeps the spirits up when you're having a rough time like this. I've told you guys before, these groups, you guys are like my mainstay focus of things. So for you guys to be wondering where I'm at and what happened and everything and reaching out to me, that really means a lot. So thank you. Now on to bigger and better stuff. I just finished up the production boards for the new it's an PLC board with opto isolation for inputs and outputs. And the thing with opto isolation, we're using it in the CNC for Newbies automatic tool changer setup. And the reason we're using it is because you can input output different voltages. So a lot of the NPN or PNP proximity sensors are 24 volt. Okay, some of them are 10 to 30 volts, some of them are strictly 12 volts, some of them are 24 volt. Well, I wanted a nice slim setup that I could interface with a lot of the different spindle setups out there. And this is what I came up with. So what's cool is you have analog inputs, you have PWM inputs, you have isolated digital outputs, and you have isolated digital or analog outputs. So you can actually use the 4 to 20 milliamp industrial sensors and interface with this board. There are two parts to the board. This part is strictly the input-output interface board. And then I have another board. I'm actually working on one right now. But this one has the relays built in. So you have an input, side, and then it goes directly in outputs to 7 relays or 2 PWM setups. And that's really cool because now the relay setups will be opto-isolated. They'll be powered by the board. It has an onboard regulator for the nano brain. And you can use ladder logic to program them, or you can use the Arduino IDE or Visuino, which is a visual interpreter IDE, which is really cool. But yeah, the boards themselves are really cool. I like them. These are the production run, and I can't wait to see what else comes out of this. So typically what we'll do is we'll have the input output boards stacked in a setup like this. They'll already be programmed. I'm going to have them programmed. However, because you can use the IDE to program them, you can actually program your own. So these will take 24 volt. These will take 12 volt. They will take 5 volt. They will take 110. So there are a lot of cool aspects to this. The board itself is a 12 volt powered board. It has its own onboard power regulator. It actually has pretty much this whole block down here. That's all power regulation for the Nano. So you're going to use the 12 volt power supply, just a regular setup like this, like a Meanwell, and that will power the opto isolators. It will give you 12 volt power going out, 12 volt power going in. And then and then the Nano will take the 5 volt step down power off of the onboard power regulator. The relay setup is a 12 volt power base, and it's triggered by the Nano, which is triggered by either an analog or a digital input output. So basically it's output 1 trigger, or input 1 triggers output 1, so on and so forth. And then I have my macros and stuff written for UCCNC to operate on that, which I think is really cool. I don't know if everybody will find the value in it like I do, but having come across so many different spindle setups, I really think that this is going to be the way to do it. The other setup that we've come up with, I've been working with Brian Founds of Founds Custom Designs on Etsy, and he and I have been talking about a dust boot setup for the CNC for Newbies ATC. And we came up with a really good, simple setup to use a regular mounted dust boot for the ATC. So normally ATCs will have a pneumatic dust boot. And that's one of the things that I was working on, was how can we make a pneumatic setup and be able to have dust collection and everything. But the problem with that is you have a lot more moving parts with it. And because of the moving parts, you have to have more regulators, you have to have more sensors and stuff like that. So Brian and I came up with this really cool setup. This is the brush setup that Brian uses on his dust boot. I've done videos on that in the past. But what's cool is, because it's magnetized, he's been able to come up with a new brush base. So just like the previous version, um, these are the spacers, but this was the previous version. It has the magnets all around, has a locating O-ring, and the bristles. And I told you guys I really like that setup. Well, after talking with them, we kind of came up with a prototype that we think is going to work really well and allow us to clear the bristles, tool change, and then allow us to put the bristles back. So what we came up with was this cool little fork idea that will mount on the tool rack, and the bristles will become almost like a pickup tool. So the dust chute itself has these ears on it with magnets, and basically what will happen is the auto tool changer will come back and slide the bristles into that. The spindle will lift off and the bristles will stay on the tool rack. What that allows us to do is keep the dust boot in place for the tool change, and it allows us to also have the dust boot ready to go as soon as you restart the program. So I think that's kind of a cool feature. We're really trying to make sure we have all the questions answered to this automatic tool changer. I've really learned a lot going from, hey, let's make a onesie twosie tool changer, to actually making a production tool changer. And a lot of the stuff that I learned can actually help you guys implement stuff onto your machine as an afterthought, as an added bonus. Um, I mean, think about it. If you have an M7 and an M8 active on your Arduino Uno, you could theoretically program it to trigger 3 of these inputs, and therefore those inputs could trigger multiple outputs. So the ability to stack these together should allow people to expand the ability of not only the UCCNC products, but the Arduino products. So you guys using the X controller, the Demon controller, the Mega V controller, and stuff like that, you theoretically could use the outputs of those controllers to trigger different happenings outside with either ladder logic or Arduino IDE. Make the program, store it on the Nano, and then unplug it, and it has its own 12-volt power supply that will then just run. So I think that that's going to be a really cool way for us to integrate a lot of different things. Excuse me. I think that's going to be a way to integrate a lot of different things here in the next coming weeks. I think we're going to see big changes coming, stuff like so. With that being said, I appreciate everybody's concern and whatnot. I'm going to be, excuse me, I'm going to be catching up on all the emails and text messages that I got while I was out, and I'll start getting you guys squared away. And then after that, we're going to keep pushing forward on the new ATC project. And we'll go from there, guys. So I hope everybody does well. I hope everybody's staying nice and cool or nice and warm, depending on where you're at. And keep pushing the machines to the max, all right? Later, guys.